Interactive whiteboards consist of a regular whiteboard glossy surface that uses erasable markers and is connected to the computer and digital projector that allows information to be projected on the screen and to be manipulated with hands and special pens. Web-based and social networking. Internet tools is for collaboration and social networking. Powerful tools that make collaboration quite rich, including avatar space, wiki space, podcasts, e-portfolios, blog, videos, and photo sharing, and social networking sites. E-portfolios allow students to show their work. Blogs allow students to show their thinking as they compose and share, reflect on classwork. Social networking sites allow students to design and upload content and meet with other people. Assistive technologies for individuals with severe disabilities may take the form of a powerful wheelchair to operate by a joystick or controlled device with a handle that moves in all directions. To provide access to a computer, you may have to offer an alternative to a keyboard. There is sophisticated technology such as canes with sensor technology, tools to convert printed information for the blind, optical character recognition software, screen readers, amplifying systems, and assistive hearing devices. Differentiated instruction is the regular practice of employing a variety of instructional methods and learning activities to match the different ways that learners and to accommodate the different levels of learning that students require. Students may immediately show mastery of outcomes, others exhibit misconceptions, and others may end up confused. The key to success is to immediately design and follow up learning activities based on the different needs of students. Students that show mastery, you may provide inquiry lessons in an effort to allow them to deepen their understanding. Students with misconception can receive direct instruction focused on that misconception. And students that are confused might benefit from exposure to a totally different instruction method. The most common approach to differentiating instruction is based on different levels of ability. You can group students according to different approaches that have been designed for a single lesson, and each group receives a unique explanation and assignments. A learning style is a student's consistent way of responding to and using stimuli in the context of learning. If you are teaching about a concept about adaptations, you could state the definition of adaptations and provide some examples. You could show pictures of birds with different beaks and ask students to predict what type of food each bird might eat. You can distribute models of birds with different beaks and ask students to measure the length of the beak and width, and finally a video of different types of birds in their natural environments. Sensory to intuitive, you can provide both hard facts and general concepts. 2, visual and verbal, incorporate both visual and verbal cues. 3, activate and reflect, allow both experimental learning and time for evaluation and analysis. 4, sequential and global, provide details in a structured way as well as the big picture. Conceptual misconception is an incorrect understanding about a concept that students often display. These misconceptions are incorrect ideas that one would resemble, conclude based on a limited experiments and understanding. A misconception in math are that 8/10 equals 1/8 and that you can add fractions by simply adding the numerator and denominators. Teachers of ELL students should include 2 kinds of objectives for every lesson, a language and a content. Content objectives are established for all students, and ELL students added a language objective helps with their language development. A good resource for teachers who work with ELL students, the National Clearinghouse for English Language Acquisition and the National Association for Bilingual Education. Tips for assisting language learners: engage cooperative groups of English language learners and English speakers in common tasks, develop content around them, allow students nonverbal ways to demonstrate knowledge and comprehension. Don't constantly correct students' departure from their standard English. Consider using visual aids and hands-on activities to deliver content, and use routines as a way to reinforce language. Classroom environment: establish classroom routines, mark transitions between activities, and use clear signals. Nonverbal ways to demonstrate knowledge: ask learners to indicate a response on a map, a chart, or a graph. Have students point to a hand-up picture or hands-down picture. Subject matter around the students: provide a context for learning activities, lends itself to using visual and hands-on activities. Use questions effectively, leave enough time for a response because second language learners may need more time. Facilitate understanding, check your own understanding of what a learner says. Engage cooperative learning groups. Make certain that students are assigned different roles within the group. Warm, welcoming classroom atmospheres. Use strategies such as buddies and pair and share, and create and sharing family shields. First step in teaching students with learning disabilities is to help them develop appropriate attitudes. In a school that shares the belief that all students can learn and where there is a shared responsibility for helping all students do learn more. Dispositions are habits of mind and ways of acting that develop over time: respect for others, perseverance, and open-mindedness. Students with special needs have instructional education progress plans that are specifically planned for them. These plans provide instructional objectives and suggestions, teaching approaches, and modifications. Carefully reviewing a special needs child's individual education plan and discussing it with the special education teacher is a critical first step into designing instruction for these students. Strategies that relate to the needs of the students with learning disability. Provide students with learning disabilities with frequent progress checks and offer positive feedback. Give them immediate feedback. Provide oral instruction for students with reading disabilities. Make activities concise and short. Provide concrete examples, objects, and events to learners who have difficulty with abstract ideas. Encourage collaborative learning and invite students of varying abilities to work together. Students with hearing imperatives. Seat a child with a hearing imperative in the front of the class. Provide written or pictorial directions. Clearly enunciate your words. Provide a variety of multisensory experiences for the student. Visual impairments. Set the child in the front of the classroom. Tape record portions of the textbook. Provide a clear oral instruction. Physical impairments. Provide adequate access to all parts of the classroom. Allow students who are physically able to assist the students with physical disabilities and movement around the room. Take time to help them express their feelings and frustrations out in the open. Emotional difficulties. Seat a child with an emotional impairment away from distractions. Provide opportunities for the student to self-select a learning activity. Get the student involved in activities with other students. The process of monitoring students' progress is much more than simply examining tests or assessments or giving grades. It is equally important to design new instruction in the light of a daily assessment. Assessments can be short quizzes that relate to a specific learning outcome of the day, to performance, and summative assessments that relate to multiple outcomes. Data collection. Determine which piece of data you will need to make a good instructional decision for a student. Data reflection. Plan some time every day to look at and analyze information you have on your students to help determine what they need. Data translation. What big things need to change based on the information you have now. Data-driven instruction. Plan your lessons based on the data you have for each student. Design feedback. Watch and see if your data-driven lessons have been effective. Summative and formative assessments. Use the information you have to evaluate students' progress. Summative assessment and the success of programs and processes. Summative assessment.